are watching #Nerd Swag.
Yo, what's up YouTube and universe? It is I, your friendly neighborhood YouTube creator, Steven Savelli, and today I have with me two amazing, impeccable, fantastic guests, and we're gonna have one of the best nerd chats of the channel. The first guest I'm introducing to you right now is the intellectual property himself, and that is my brother, Jacob. Say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
Alright, and the second most amazing guest that I will have on the channel is another brother of mine, and that is the MMO masterpiece himself, Lucas. Lucas, say hello to the people watching.
Hello, world.
Alright, he's very excited. He's got long hair, and he don't care. So this is another episode of the Nerd Swag Nerd Chat. I'm super excited to have you guys on. I have my brothers on the channel. How amazing is that? They will be guests joining me in 2015 for a lot of different things. And some of it will be nerd chats like this, which is super exciting. So, here's what we're going to talk about and on the agenda for today. The first thing we're going to talk about is broken games. Why are games coming out released broken? Why is that happening? And as gamers, which we all are, how do we feel about that? I can tell you right now, we're not happy. The second thing we're going to talk about is NASA's journey to Mars. By the time we die, we will have already had people on Mars. Boots on the ground. Hopefully, if NASA knows anything that they're doing.
We'll have boots elsewhere, too.
We will have boots elsewhere. You heard it here first. We just made a historic decision of the human race.
We didn't start with the hopefully.
Yeah, so we'll get into that for our second conversation. In our third conversation, you better believe that we're doing a D&D campaign on this channel, and we're going to talk about it today. We haven't decided what we're doing, but this guy, Jacob, he'll be the dungeon master. Woo! Yeah, we'll talk about that. So let's hop right into the first part of our agenda. And don't mind Sauron here. He loves you guys. So, alright guys, the first topic of discussion is broken games. And we've seen a trend lately in the past 2 years where these next-gen games that are coming out, they're coming out broken. They need first-day patches. The frame rates are being messed up. They're showing up with DLC on the disc that's already there, but it's being protected where you have to pay for it later to get it. So the first thing I want to talk about is frame rate and why frame rate has been an issue with some of these next-gen games. So we're going to start with Lucas. What do you have to say about like frame rate, if things should be 60 frames per second? Is that ruining the experience?
Well, I don't think frame rate should be 60 frames per second. However, if I buy a new game, I want it to feel fluent. I want it to be something that immerses me into the experience. I don't want it to be, oh, stutter, choppy. It takes me out of the experience. I want it to feel right, like I'm actually in the game, not I'm playing this piece of junk that's just constantly wavering all over the place.
So a lot of snobs, I would say, are mandating 60 frames per second. Is 60 frames per second a mandatory thing for you? Is that something that should be expected for next-gen buyers?
It's something that has been expected for the previous 2 generations.
Sure. Yeah.
It's something that, just because, like, I don't get why a new console generation starts and we start getting 30 frames per second and we start getting, like, these things that when we get a new generation of games, we expect them to be better. We expect them to be something new, something greater than the previous generation. And then we get these cinematic
trailers, gameplay trailers.
And then we get games that don't live up to it. And we get games that stutter. We get games that have significant frame drops.
So let's talk about stuttering. What do you consider stuttering? Because we might have a lot of people watching that aren't huge gamers, and they might see stuttering but not notice it. So what is stuttering?
It's when you are playing a game and it's running at a specific frame rate.
That's too high to process.
And then it drops, and then it's something lots of people don't notice. But for people who are accustomed to playing games at higher frame rates, it's certainly noticeable. It's certainly something I see. So does
a frame rate dropping and stuttering, does that ruin a lot of first or one-player games? I'm not sure it does.
I wouldn't say ruins, but it certainly lowers the quality of the overall experience.
So if I'm playing a game, it stutters. Is that now a bad game?
No, definitely not. But I feel like that takes away from the game as a whole.
And it takes away from it how? You're still playing the same game. Mm-hmm. You're not losing anything. How is it taken away from the game?
Well, a game is only as good as the sum of its parts.
Sure.
And, like, plenty of problems and plenty of different factors play into if the game is good or not. And I think frame rate is a significant factor that plays into the overall quality of a game.
So a game. So I'm playing a game. I'm playing, and it stutters. Is that because of the game? Is that because of the processor of my computer or my console? Is that because I don't have enough memory on my console or computer to spare to render all these things at the same time? I mean, is it always the game's fault?
Not always. I
Right.
mean,
So how are you supposed to know if it's my fault or the developer's fault for programming a broken game?
when you spend $1,000 on the best hardware you can get your hands on and your game stutters, if you spend so much money to make a monster PC rig and then you get under 60 frames per second, I feel like that's ridiculous and
Yeah.
discouraging.
Yeah. So for one-player games, it might not ruin the experience, but it definitely hinders the experience because you're right. Full immersion is a big part of gaming, and you want to feel in the game and you want to feel a part of the game. But it hurts even more in games like you play, Lucas. Lucas is our MMO gamer. He's the MMO masterpiece. So why would the frame rate and stutters hurt what you do as a gamer?
Well, the games I play, it's solely online, so when you're with a group of people and, like, let's say you're doing a dungeon run or something, and you're fighting the boss, you need to beat the dungeon, and then out of nowhere you get this huge, like, frame drop, and then boom, when the frames go back to normal, like a 60 frame or whatever you're playing the game on, and then you come back and you're dead, and it just ruins the whole overall experience.
Yeah, and you'd say, is that happening because your bandwidth is bad, or just because the developer programmed a game that's broken?
No, it can be on a lot of different bases. Like, you have their servers, the way they made the game, even your computer could be a problem or an issue in it.
Yeah. So let's talk about servers next, because that was a great segue, not on purpose, and I loved it. Good job. So we're going to talk about servers. So a lot of these issues with some of these next-gen games is they're being released on servers that cannot handle the amount of users that are logging into them. So that is awfully annoying. That happened with Halo the Master Chief Collection. Day one, people that stayed up till midnight, like a lot of our friends did, went and purchased the game at midnight, got home. First off, it had to install for 4 hours before you could play it. That's a topic of discussion in itself. You should be able to pop in a game and play it, for gosh sakes. But then once it's done, you can't play it online because the servers can't handle it. We need to talk about this. So, Jake, how do you feel about games? Well, there's two things, right? There's developers picking servers that aren't good, or not powerful enough, or doesn't have enough space. But there's also the side of, like, we're heading to a point where all games have to be on servers to play them.
Yes.
So you can pick either of those topics to discuss first.
Well, I mean, servers are expensive, and I understand that, and it's hard to predict how many players you're gonna have.
Which is why they do huge betas.
Yeah.
Well, those are supposed to help. Like Destiny did a worldwide open beta. I think it helped their day one launch.
Yeah.
Which Destiny was still a little broken, but so.
I mean, like, you look at the Master Chief Collection, and you look at the new World of Warcraft expansion. Like, for World of Warcraft, for example, they had insane queues to get into their servers. You had to wait hours and hours to play the game. And I mean, it's something that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, it would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous for me to say developers need to purchase or rent way more servers than are necessary.
Yeah.
But
it sucks.
I don't know what they can do to fix it.
Yeah, so I bought Halo Master Chief Collection myself. I went to go play it the day it launched, and I waited 3.5 hours to play my first game. And my first game was only part of a party that was 5-on-1. That was the game I played. 5-on-1 multiplayer. That's the only thing I played day one of launch. That sucked.
At least you got in a game.
At least I did get in a game. But it hurts. Well, while these next-gen games are full multiplayer, right? Or partially multiplayer, and we're getting to a point in gaming where you have to be online to play, even single player, and the servers are going to impact your experience. Do you feel like the experience of gaming is getting worse? With technology getting greater, the experience is getting worse.
The experience is certainly changing. I mean, we are getting a lot more story-driven games, which is great, but the online aspect is, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a problem. The servers certainly are. Servers should be better, and servers, you shouldn't have to wait hours to play a game. But, like, the always online thing, in this new age, it kind of makes sense to always be connected to people you want to play
Especially
with.
if the technology's there to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't really think it should be mandatory either.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't, like, if my power goes out, if...
Not your power. You gotta need your power to play
you
games.
need your power to play games. But if your internet goes out, you should still be able to play.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be a mandatory, especially if it's a single-player game.
Sure.
Like
if I want to play Shadow of Mordor
mm-hmm.
at home, I shouldn't need the internet.
Yeah. It's like on PC, you need to be logged into Steam to play Steam games.
Yeah.
And if your internet goes down, that's not something you can do.
I mean, if you want to go to Mars, how are you going to figure that out? Alright, so let's talk about day one patches. This is something that a lot of people do now. They make and ship a broken game. In between them sending it to the manufacturer to be made and packaged and delivered to all the stores worldwide, between sending off the final game to getting it to release date, they're like, oh no, there's problems. Oh no, we didn't test it enough. Oh no, and all these games have already been made, they've already been shipped. Day one, you load in your game and it needs a patch. How does that make you feel?
It shouldn't be necessary. I mean, developers shouldn't ship broken games.
Yeah.
It's anti-consumer. If you ship a broken game, that's... What is that?
It's like shipping rotten food, right?
Yeah.
It's like shipping rotten food. It's like if I shipped you a shirt and you open it up, I'm like, oh, a sleeve's missing, my bad.
Here's the sew.
Here's a sleeve.
Yeah.
You could sew it on yourself today.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
We in no other part of our purchasing, day-to-day purchases, do we expect something to not come as it was sold. Like, in what other avenue and what we buy, do we buy and we just hope it works? That doesn't happen.
That's one of the bad things about the game market. It's become just, like, normal for this to happen. It's something that we expect now. I mean, it's something we're not like, oh no, the game's broken on release. It's more like, it's kind of, at this point...
You expect it to be broken.
It's not, if a developer says, oh, that's a day one patch, it's not a bad thing. It's not like, it's commonplace now.
And it should be. It should be. We should expect when games are released for it to work.
Yes.
What else do you buy that you expect to not work? And the problem is we get them, it doesn't work, and we do nothing. We complain on message boards. Sure, we go on Microsoft's forum and complain. We still buy the game. We don't return the game. We don't... I mean, some people might return games, but...
As a whole.
You know, we kind of let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of frustrating. For your games, for MMOs, a lot of these indie games, you know, they're not even selling them. A lot of games are free-to-play. And these free-to-play games seem to be doing all right. Do you get a lot of day one patches for free-to-plays?
No, not very often. In most cases, free-to-play games actually do a lot better than pay-to-play games. Not only is the range of people that can play them better, they also have a lot more community feedback and people who put input into the game. And most free-to-play games, the community has a lot bigger or larger impact on what happens in the development process.
So if major developers were going to learn something from indie games, what do you think that would be?
They should definitely take into the care and how they handle situations where they need patches and stuff. It's not just, hey, we need to patch this, let's patch it. It's more like, guys, what do you think? How do you think we should help, or how do you think we can make this a better product in general?
So Destiny took over $1 billion to make.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a problem? Is there becoming not a monopoly on gaming, but a point where these indie developers can't contest with these huge, giant, money-backed games?
Well, I mean, indie developers, they don't have to make crazy games. They don't have to make a Destiny. They don't have to make something huge like that. They just have to make something good. They have to make something people want to play.
Yeah.
And that doesn't cost billions of dollars.
And a lot of the times people enjoy that more, right? Because they're not just seeing money thrown in their face.
Before we leave the free-to-play topic, though, I mean, the games end up free-to-play, and that does help, but free-to-play games have their own problems, too. Like microtransactions. The whole, like...
The whole, it's free, but if you want to be better than everybody else, you have to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pay to win, and not all games do it, but lots are certainly guilty of it. And
It's pretty scandalous.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But would you take that over a game that's broken?
Yes.
Or do you consider microtransactions being a broken part of the game? Because I would.
It's a broken mechanic.
I would consider it a broken mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
And you can not pay and get along in the game, but it's going to take you 20 times longer than someone who pays to get right up to the next level or get that item that they need.
Yeah.
Okay. So, should we be okay with developers sending out review copies, gamers play them, or reviewers review them, they get bad reviews, and developers push back the game to fix it? Should we as consumers be okay with that? If Rocksteady comes out and says Batman is going to be released in October, are we okay with it coming out in November the next year? If it's going to be a not broken game. Or would you like to get it now, experience it, and let them take a year to fix it? Or would you rather wait the year and get it good?
I want a good game. I don't care how long they take to do it. If they push back a game's release date, that should be something we should be happy about as consumers, as gamers. The fact that they're taking the time to make a quality product.
So you would say it's a good thing to push back the release date?
Definitely.
Definitely. And because you can have it in your hand and play it, have it be a little broken, but still play it and still maybe enjoy it, right?
I'd rather enjoy it to the fullest 2 years down the line.
All right. So how much do you lean on review copies for games to see if they're broken?
Me? If I'm gonna buy a game, I definitely look at reviews beforehand.
Gotcha. And do you look at 5 reviews, 10 reviews, 15 reviews?
I find reviewers who have like-minded opinions as I do, so they're gonna like the same kinds of games that I like. And
for you, that's what, 3 people?
Yeah.
Probably about 3 people.
I listen to their opinions and I buy products based off of what they say.
So if they give a review that's bad, you assume that's a bad game?
I assume it's a game not for me.
Okay. All right. Will you try the game if they rate it bad?
If I see the review and they say, oh, it's not worth playing, but while I'm watching it, I'm like, you know what, I'm actually interested in that. Yes, I will. I'll pick it out.
So as a developer, if you have people making decisions based on review copies, and they're not going to buy a game because the review copy is bad, should you just not do review copies? We talked about Shadow of Mordor before we turned this on, because Shadow of Mordor, they didn't send out a whole bunch of review copies.
No.
But that game was brilliant.
Yes.
So was that a smart move by them? Because they could have put in people's hands that hated on it.
I don't think very many people would have hated on it. And I mean,
I know they wouldn't have because the game was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, you might have more purchases because there's not people saying don't buy this game when it comes out.
I think you'll benefit more from giving a review copy and getting good press.
If your game's good.
Yes, if your game's good.
But I think basically what we're getting at is I think there's companies that are large enough that will release broken games just to make money.
Yeah, like for example, Ubisoft released Assassin's Creed Unity, and they gave out review copies, but the review copies were embargoed until 12 hours after release.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
When you see an embargo on a game, don't buy that game.
Mm-hmm.
When you see an embargo on a movie, don't watch that movie. And if you guys don't know what an embargo means I will give you this, but I'm going to tell you when you're allowed to talk about it. Mm-hmm. That's what embargo means. Usually stuff with embargo, I understand an embargo if things can be released before the release date. Mm-hmm. If I give you something 2 months early and a week before something's released, I embargo it until then. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if your embargo goes past the release date, No
and
bueno.
It's evidence that they're not confident with their product.
Yeah.
And that's something I felt about Shadow of Mordor. It was a great game, and the fact that they didn't release review copies almost said that they weren't confident with their product.
Yeah.
And they should have been, and it might be because the PR company isn't run by the same people that developed the game, or they're not totally in touch with how gamers feel. But it was a great game, and it's something that deserved to be confident in, and I don't get it.
I would rather be not confident, stellar game instead of overconfident, broken game. We can all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Pre-ordering games. You buy something for $60. Might not come out for a year, might not come out for 2 years, and you're paying for a product that hasn't been reviewed. You don't know if it's going to be good, it's going to be bad, and is that something how do you feel about pre-ordered games that you pay full price, Lucas?
I typically am not one to pre-order things. However, I don't think it's a smart idea in the slightest, because you're paying for a game that's not been reviewed. You have no idea what you're gonna get, and who knows? Maybe when you get it, it's gonna be a bad, broken game.
Yeah, exactly. So why do people pre-order games? I guess.
Oh, because hype.
Mainstream title. It's a big title. Like when you pre-order the new Call of Duty, you know exactly what you're getting. So it's kind of like hey, it's a big name brand. If I buy this, I hope it's gonna be good.
So what is it about having a game the day it's released? Why couldn't you have it one day later to determine if that game's worth it or not?
Bragging rights?
Yeah, there's a certain,
oh, hey, I was there when I got the game.
Yeah.
I was the first one to try it, or something like that.
Yeah, there's something about being ahead of the pack, I suppose, that is alluring. But, I mean, buying a game day one is not a sin. It's not bad. It's not something that...
No, because we already talked about you shouldn't have to worry about being broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But pre-ordering a game, before you know... I mean, at this point, you only know what the company wants you to know. And the game likely hasn't been reviewed.
Yeah.
And it's only been shown off at, game expos,
Right.
E3 and...
PAX.
Similar events, yeah. Like PAX and
Stuff like that.
Tokyo Game Show and stuff like that.
At the end of the day, to developers, it's basically, we got the money, we don't care if you like our game or not. We're getting paid, that's all that matters to them.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about our last topic, because I thought the last topic was going to be our last, but we do have one more thing we want to talk about. We want to talk about pre-rendered game footage. How misleading as crap is that?
That's one of those things that will drive someone to pre-order without knowing what the game's going to be like.
Yeah.
For Watch Dogs, for instance, it was the original footage at E3 looked outstanding. The game looked like this is what we wanted our next gen experience to be.
Yeah.
And
You want it to look better.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We purchased the game. It really looks no better than a 360 game.
Yeah.
It runs at 30 FPS. It's...
So this is where I'm going to come in and say, what does that matter? What does it matter? Does it make the game bad? Does it change the game? So the rain looks a little less real.
It's
What does that matter?
deceiving the consumer. It's deceiving the person when they show off footage, that's almost like a promise of what their game is going to be like when you buy it.
Sure. So that's okay. But what was happening in the game is still going to happen in the game, right? Just a little less textured. Frames per second are a little lower, but is it still the same game that you thought you were getting or not? Why is it not?
It's not the same game we thought we were getting, because we wanted our next gen game. We don't want a game that could have been made for the 360, made for the Xbox One. We want an Xbox One game that's...
But it could still be a good game, whether the graphics are less or not. Why does that impact the game's quality? Right? Because I could play a game that's 16-bit, and it's fantastic. So is it the problem? So is the problem that we are so addicted to new textures, higher frames per second, 4K? 1080p is not good enough anymore. This video you're watching on YouTube, it is not good enough anymore for 15-year-old kids. Is that a problem?
We have different expectations when it comes to a 16-bit game and a 3D rendered game.
That wasn't a fair comparison, but I used it. So suck it up.
The expectations are completely different, and the games are different games for it. And
Look, I'm not a Watch Dogs apologist. I actually agree with you. I'm just bringing up the point of us being too addicted as a community to things having to be exactly what we want them to be, having to be next gen, having to be the next best graphic. Can you just enjoy what is there?
when you pay
something-
for better hardware and you get worse quality games, I don't think so. I think that you should, if you're paying for new hardware, if you're paying for stuff that is supposed to be better, and you get something that's worse,
Yeah.
that's not. It's not like
It's just misleading.
it's misleading. Exactly.
So when I see a movie trailer and I go see that movie and I didn't like it, is it a broken movie? Or is it just I didn't like it?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because I mean, when people
Because you're not going to watch the whole movie before you watch the whole movie,
yeah,
right? So
people who make movie trailers, I mean, they get paid to sell the movie. They get paid to make people interested in the movie. But there's a difference between, like, buying a microwave that says it's going to cook all your food in 30 seconds and ends up not doing it, then...
But Watch Dogs didn't sell on cooking your food for 30 seconds. Watch Dogs sold on a game with a new play style that controls the environment. Did it do that?
The funny thing about Watch Dogs, they shifted halfway through their development cycle what they said their game was going to be.
Okay.
At first they said it was going to be, the biggest, most beautiful game you've ever seen. And then halfway through they were like, yeah, we don't care about how it looks anymore. We just want good gameplay.
But that was before they sold it.
That was before they sold
We knew it before we bought it. So is it fair to say that the game came worse than was first advertised a year and a half, 2 years before the game came out? Because they changed their tune. Did they not do what they should have done?
But, I mean, I feel they changed their tune because they couldn't reach what they told us they could.
Why is that a problem? I'm going to sit down and tell you today that I'm going to write a 5,000-page book. I'm going to write about a guy that controls a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I start writing and I'm like, crap, I can't write 5,000 pages. I'm going to write 3,000 pages. And I'm going to give you a 9-month heads up that I'm only going to write 3,000 pages. Is that wrong of me to change my vision of my book? Should you now not buy it?
I mean, if I don't agree with your change, I guess I probably shouldn't buy it.
There you go. Then I don't want to hear anybody complaining about buying Watch Dogs. I'm just saying, I'm not an apologist. To be fair, I hated the game. I own it. I'm not a big fan, and I have the same issues as you, but I have to reflect on myself and say, what is my problem? Like, what is my deal? And I'm kind of asking you questions I was asking myself.
With Watch Dogs, I mean, a bunch of people jumped on the hype train, and it just it really is partially the consumer's fault for expecting so much.
I think
and being
it's 100%
disappointed.
the consumer's fault.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if they released that pre-rendered video and 10 people saw it, then no one would know, right?
Yeah.
The problem is now with everything. This is with movies. Why are we seeing teaser trailers a year and a half ahead of time? Why is it so important that we have to see everything as soon as possible? So now there's pressure that they have to do this, or that they're not coming. There's no progress on their project. So now they're having to show stuff, and they have to do what they can to show the stuff. I think that's the consumer's fault. We're forcing, in the digital age, to know as much as we can as soon as we can. Why am I hearing casting rumors for a movie that doesn't come out until 2018? Why? The movie's out in 2018. Why do I need to hear casting rumors now? Right? This is where it gets. This is a whole nother topic of discussion, but it's pretty much on us because we need to see it.
I don't think you can put all the blame on the consumers. I think it certainly isn't just black and white and it's one party's problem or the other. But I guess if we want a change,
If you want to change, you should have been born 80 years ago. Because it's only going to get worse, my brothers. Literally, my brothers. All right. Anything else to talk about broken games? We covered off on, I'm guessing, a pretty hefty, long discussion. All right, let's hop into phase 2. Do you want to intro phase 2? You want me to intro second?
you.
All right, let's talk about the second discussion. The second thing we want to talk about is our journey to Mars. We won't really have any arguing on this one. This isn't a debate class for this topic. So NASA's going to Mars. We tested a deep space capsule. What was that? About a month ago now, a month or two, where we launched into space and we landed back in the ocean. We just want to make sure that it all worked. And they're saying by 2025.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground on Mars. Like, that is amazing. How does that make you feel? Look at that shirt you're wearing. You're going to Mars right now.
When I get teary, seriously, just looking at pictures from the Mars rover. It's amazing. The idea, like when it dawns on you that those rocks, everything you see there isn't here.
It's another planet,
it's
man.
Amazing. It's really it's astonishing.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Luke? How does it just make you feel like, wow, like another planet? You know that dot in the sky? There will be a human standing there. Like what does that even mean?
Well, it's definitely a large step for a man.
Right.
And it's insane to think about that we're going to have people going to a whole nother planet to explore and expand our knowledge that we are stuck and limited to here on Earth.
Yeah, it's like, it's hard to even describe the feeling you really get. My heart beats a little faster just thinking about it.
I mean,
and
it's certainly what some people would describe as spiritual or something like that. But it's amazing.
it's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
So we saw recently, so Curiosity revealed a few things lately.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, we got some hydrogen
Yeah.
deposits just on Mars. And also proof of water or a giant lake of some sort on Mars, because there's erosion and clearly erosion lines and stuff, and mountains being formed from water.
Yeah. And we found H2O in the soil. Really, really.
So let's just talk about those things. Like how the same solar system, we have what looks to be proof of possible life, either current or past.
It certainly has stuff that we would have needed to sustain life.
Yeah. We're not saying that there's life on Mars. We're not being overly optimistic. But what we're saying is, look, for what you need,
It's there.
it seems to be there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like,
I mean,
how big of a deal is that it's in the same solar system?
it's amazing. Now, if we do find life, what I can't wait to see is if it's like DNA based, or if it uses some other completely different genetic code.
Yeah. If it's not DNA carbon based,
Mm-hmm.
it would be an explosion of our brains.
Yeah. it
Right?
would-
Because we would assume that all living things have a structure that are similar to ours. And it will be weird for the day that we find something that's not.
Yeah. I mean, DNA evolved. It wasn't like, we think that's something that happened here.
Yeah.
And if we find DNA on Mars, that
Origin of DNA might not be Earth.
might not be Earth, yeah.
Sure.
But I think it's even more exciting if we find something else.
Yeah.
That
I don't know if it's exciting or scary. It's one of the two. Yeah, our brains might explode. Yeah. So what do you think about all these things, Luke? Like, we're finding... well, first off, Curiosity has been a huge success.
Oh.
I don't remember if we were together when we actually watched the landing,
No, we weren't.
but I definitely remember watching it live on NASA's website, and
Yeah.
it's been a success. Curiosity's still rolling around, figuring out stuff.
Yeah.
That was a huge milestone. But what do you think about finding like these deposits and possible water erosion and stuff on another planet? It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, as you and Jake said, it's kind of very mind-blowing, and if we were to find life, that would basically, well, not really prove, but kind of just set forth that we're not the only place that has life, or that had life previously or prior to now.
Yeah. Be kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
It's with the number of planets and the number of stars and everything. The fact that, there's billions of stars and almost every star has a solar system. I mean, there's no way it's safe to assume we're not the only thing.
I'm not sure that's debatable at this point.
Yeah.
However,
but what's
it's also safe to assume if something is out there, chances are we'll never see it.
right? Yes.
Mhm.
But what's interesting is with all the theories and guesses of out there's so many billions of solar systems and billions of this and billions of that. How ironic
It's
would
in
it
our
be?
backyard.
How ironic would it be that the next planet over, there was life or
Yeah.
is life? Like that would be pretty darn ironic. And I think if we were to find that, we might quickly find more life other places.
If we do find it, I mean, I think that discovery enough would be what could fuel another space age. I mean, it could fuel.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So right now we kind of don't have a world space program, obviously, because our governments can't even decide on free trading, right? We can't even decide on trading, on monetization of goods. We can get into a whole other sort of topics that I'm a mild expert on, but we're having issues with just living together, let alone have a space program together. Do you think finding life on another planet would unite the world to finally have a Earth space program?
I doubt it, but I wish. I mean, I'm optimistic. I suppose I would love for that to happen.
Do you think everything would change? Do you think our governmental structure would be like, wow, like we're not the only ones, so we need to start planning for us finding other life?
I wish. I mean, I don't find that very.
I'm asking giant questions right now.
I really-
That's very
I hope
challenging
so.
questions. But these are the things that run through my mind. Like, if you found life somewhere else, you would think people would reevaluate everything, like
I would hope
everything.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's say we do find life or past life on Mars. Do you think we keep going? Do you think we go to Saturn? Do we go to Jupiter? And we're not talking about the actual planets. We're talking about the moons, realistically. Where would you like us to see go next?
I mean, they're in just our, like I said, our cosmic backyard. There are so many interesting places for us to explore and discover.
Yeah.
I mean, we have.
So we got Titan,
Yeah.
which is a moon of Jupiter, and they say that, studies have been released recently that in millions of years when we have a red sun, that Titan will be right in the Goldilocks zone for a planet. And with Jupiter's gravity, it could easily have life, right? And there's been books written about it, but there's been new recent studies about it. So Titan would be cool to go to.
Oh, Titan is also just. It would be awesome to go to Titan just for there's so much interesting chemistry going on there.
Let's talk about something that's interesting
See that I
about Titan.
I wish I had that on hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of
It
stuff.
has like lakes of liquid methane and a bunch of just
See, that's something that's cool.
crazy stuff there, and it's amazing.
Yeah. So there's that, and there's also one of Saturn's moons that we would love. Europa.
Yeah,
What's cool about Europa?
that's the one I'm more excited about. I mean, for a long time we thought it was a giant ball of ice, but now we know, or I guess we can't really say no because we haven't.
We think we know.
It, but we think we know that underneath the ice is a giant, just an entire world of water.
Yeah.
And that's exciting. I mean, here on Earth, life started in water. So, my gosh. And I mean, because of the heat emanating off of Saturn, Europa could possibly contain life.
Sure.
Under
the surface.
icy surface.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just shoot a missile into it.
Good idea.
See if anything shoots back. So, Lucas, let's talk about funding. There's most funding for space travel is privatized, and there is not a lot of public funding for space travel. How much does that bum you out?
It bums me out an insane amount. If we had more funding to space, we would, we probably could have gotten the mission to Mars a lot sooner, or even missions to other places a lot sooner, or we could have sent out more rovers or other things to explore our solar system even.
Yeah, and tons of inventions that we use in our house, it's from space exploration.
It's from the research that went into
exactly.
space exploration.
I mean, MRIs, right? An MRI is from research gone into space exploration. It's kind of a big deal. That's not a household item. Don't get me wrong. I don't have one.
It's just in my closet.
Yeah.
Something.
But
like,
you never know what that's gonna. We're
What I-
funding something positive that creates nothing but positive results.
Mhm.
What negative results come from funding?
Yeah, I mean, lots of people say, like, you know, all the funding we put into the, like, into stuff like military tech and stuff is good for us because it does have those.
Sure.
Anytime you're researching anything, you find other uses for the thing.
Military technology is useful.
Hmm.
Agreed.
But if we could fund something like science and get all of the pluses from the things coming from the scientific research, I think it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's positing something, like you said, it's funding something positive and getting more positives out of it.
Yeah, I don't. You guys aren't really working citizens of the United States yet. You guys are both pretty young. You
I have a temp job.
you just turned 18. You are not 18.
Actually,
No.
I turned 19 in like 2 months.
Sure.
So I turned 18 like almost.
But in the long timeline of the galaxy, you just turned 18.
Yeah.
All right. Don't correct me on camera. So, you guys don't know the value of a dollar really, but how much would you give your dollar to space funding?
I know how much goes to it, and it's ridiculous.
How much goes to it?
Half a penny's worth goes to our entire. Like, that's not NASA funding, that's our science budget.
That's our entire science budget of the United States.
Excluding the military science budget,
Sure.
which is.
Half a penny.
Yeah.
Would you give more than that for every dollar?
Definitely. I would give. Way more than that. I was gonna say every dollar, but then we don't get a lot of other stuff.
even 2 pennies would extremely change our outlook on the space
Definitely.
program.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, basically, what we say is we need to fund more. We need to travel more, and it's pretty damn cool stuff. The
Very.
journey to Mars. It's kind of a really cool thing. I'm glad to be alive during this period of space exploration.
So am I. I mean, this really is a great time to be alive. It's so. I mean, when it comes to tech and science, it's such exciting stuff.
yeah,
I'm sure lots of people said that during their times of being alive. But
Yeah, but when you talk about this, it kind of makes you forget about broken games.
Yes.
Yeah.
It puts things in perspective
Yeah, a little bit.
about what to get mad about
Yeah,
or not.
Broken game, Mars.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
the worst thing about the Mars program is the fact that we're not there yet, and we could have been.
Yeah.
And we're not.
we could have been,
Mhm.
for sure. So you want to recommend a book for the audience that kind of had to do with Mars. So what's it called? What's it about? Why should we read it?
Kind of similar to what
You
we were
gotta
talking
tell them,
about.
not me.
Very similar to what we were talking about. The Martian by Andy Weir,
And this book
It's-
came out.
a couple years ago.
So the book's called The Martian.
Yeah.
All right. So tell everybody what it's about, why they should get it.
It's about an astronaut who is part of a Mars program and ends up getting stranded on Mars and has to try his best to survive. It's cool because, I mean, it has to do with Mars, so it's topical. But all the like Andy Weir, he spent, from what I understand, years researching the science behind NASA's space program and
Mhm.
stuff that would need it. Like, it's very grounded.
Yeah.
It's a sci-fi book, but it's grounded in reality, and it's amazing. I recommend the book. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, so The Martian, go buy it, check it out. I'm going to buy it based off my brother's recommendation. I'm excited. The last question for this topic.
Oh, and they are making a movie, so
They're making a Martian movie?
yeah.
Do you know if they started writing it or producing it yet? Or
I've just heard that they're making it. I haven't looked any further into it.
Gotcha. Is there anything else you could tell us to get us excited about that book? Non-spoilery?
I mean, it shows, like, the tenacity of human life, I suppose. I mean, it's really lots of times in the book, which is, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, something will happen and you'll be like, oh, there's no way out of it. And then they find a way and you're like, that would work, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know, it's amazing.
That's super cool.
I like
yeah.
it a lot.
My last question is, this journey to Mars, NASA's talking about that it could be a one-way mission. That the astronauts that sign up for it, it's quite possible that they will be sent there, and the capsule that they go with may not be strong enough, or it might not. There's a possibility it gets too damaged to not leave the surface of Mars. And they might be stuck there with a certain set of supplies that they have to live there with. And remember that if we're going to send supplies to them, that's going to take 5 years, right? So it's a 5-year journey that you don't know you're coming back from. Would you go?
I mean, I don't think I have what it takes to be an astronaut, but I would, if it was offered to me, I would definitely do it.
So you'd go a one-way trip, leave your brothers, leave your family, in the spirit of science?
Yes, in the spirit of science. I mean, that's one of the things I'm most passionate about. But also, in the spirit of exploration, kind of. I mean, like, the idea of being on another planet. I mean, exploration is something that has fueled humans for so long, and that's why we went across the Pacific Ocean? Atlantic Ocean. Any ocean, really.
Yeah,
And
I mean, exploration has drove everything, all the way to today, all the way to exploring next-gen graphics. I'm gonna keep going back to that. But yeah, totally. What about you, Lucas? Would you go on a one-way trip to Mars? Is that something that appeals to you? Or do you say, send the other people and I'll watch from here?
No, it definitely appeals to me. I would go, not for the same reason as Jacob, but definitely for exploration. And for just my own value. If I'm not coming back, at least I got to see it before I died. That's something just amazing to think about.
That's something I've always wanted to see. I mean, I've heard about it, I've read and seen people talk about it, and I want to see Earth from outer space with my own eyes. I mean,
that would be cool.
Oh my, I can only imagine how eye-opening that must be, and how...
Yeah, the most eye-opening thing for me involving space is I, with my own eyes, saw the rings of Saturn. That is something that stopped my heart for a second. When you, with your naked eye, I mean, I was looking through a giant telescope in Los Angeles, but you know those giant dome scopes where they legitimately look at planets and moons and stuff? I looked through an eye hole, and in real time with my real eye, saw the rings of Saturn. I saw Saturn and I saw the rings, and you could see the rings. Like, I saw it with my eyes. My heart stopped, and I can't even imagine what that would be like to see without a telescope. Obviously you wouldn't see Saturn, but to see space without a telescope would be unreal.
I've heard astronaut accounts of the Earth, and it's just
beautiful.
I wish I could say.
If I was you guys, I would follow NASA on Twitter. A lot of their astronauts post awesome pictures from space, and the Earth is one of the most beautiful things ever, if not the most beautiful thing ever. Seeing a planet with liquid water on it is
and
pretty unique.
And seeing it and knowing everything you've read in history, like everything that has happened that's been relevant.
You can see all of it with one view.
It's all happened right there. Yeah.
It's all happened right there, and you can see it all at once. Yeah, it's unreal. All right, so let's hop into Mars is fun. That's a super exciting topic to talk about. Now let's get into something else really exciting, and that is in 2015. This might be 2015 when the video is online, actually, this video we're having right now. But in 2015, we want to start an online weekly show of a D&D campaign or a Warhammer campaign. We want to do a role-playing campaign. It'll be us three here, and we will probably have a few other people on the campaign with us.
Definitely.
Dude, how excited are you to have a YouTube weekly show doing a role-playing campaign? How freaking cool is this?
It's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. Jacob is going to be our dungeon master, and there's a lot of pressure on him being super cool. And maybe we do it on Mars.
That'd be fun.
Maybe we're on Mars creating games, and that's how the role-playing starts. Maybe that's what we do.
We'll figure that out later.
We have to deal with, like, pirators and stuff.
Here's some scenarios I want, and this is up to the dungeon master to create for me. He's a dungeon master, but somehow I get what I want.
It's your channel.
I want to be a race where humans are attacking us and they're evil. They're an evil species.
Okay.
A lot of books are from the viewpoint of humans, and
You would like
every other species is bad. I want to be another species where the humans, they're messed up, man, and I want to kill every last one of them.
Humans are messed up.
That's what I want. If not that, I wouldn't mind being a wizard with a dragon.
With a dragon?
Yeah. I I want
What-
a
what-
pet
what-
dragon.
I think
What about your whole
The size of Sauron here.
what about your whole like your hedgehog?
Oh, I also would not mind being a giant porcupine with armor. Anyway,
well, I mean, I really like the idea of doing a sci-fi
It's all right,
fantasy. So you might get a dragon and be on Mars.
all right. So you're excited about doing a role-playing campaign? Are you excited?
Yeah.
All right, Lucas, I'm super excited. You might have a character, you might not. He doesn't know. But that's the end of our Nerd Swag Nerd Chat this week. Hope you guys super enjoyed it. If you can leave down below in the comments, you know, if you love this or not, and if you want my brothers on the channel going forward, you let me know. I thought this was a pretty fun discussion. Just a reminder, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, share. Those are all exciting things. You guys want to say bye? Anything else?
Buy anything else.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time on the best channel in the world. #NerdSwag. Peace out, guys.